Okay, so we have the machine that we have made as of now. So basically, it's CentOS 6.8 image on VirtualBox. So we have started it yesterday. We had created it and then copied the complete HTTP 2.5 repository on it. Okay, so we need to understand the basics like how this image, and yesterday we also have gone through the networking part of it. Basically, there are how the networking is decided, what is public, private, dynamic, static. Okay, how we can achieve this. Okay, so basically we need to understand that so since we have created this image, we can understand that how basically the Linux operating system works. Okay, so we will do the hands-on on the Linux commands and try to understand that how the Linux operating system is structured. Okay, and we may compare it few of the things with the Windows that we already know about. Okay, so let's start. Basically, when you talk about the Linux, Linux is a kind of a directory structure only. Okay, and as you can see here that we have this picture, it will tell you like almost everything about Linux. Okay, that how it is structured. Okay, now if you see the starting of the Linux is starting with this root directory. Okay, that is the /. Okay, so if you see that under this you will find multiple subdirectories. Okay, so it is just similar to the Windows folder structure, in which we do have like program files, and then under that we do have multiple subdirectories or subfolders basically, and that can that may have more files or more configuration and more executables basically. So under this root directory, or this is the starting point of the Linux, you can say. Under that you will have multiple subdirectories. Okay, and this slash is a kind of starting point, and it is being owned by the root. So root is the user who is the god of Linux. It means that he is having all the authorities, all the privileges. He can do anything. He can destroy the system at all. Okay, he is having nobody. I mean, it's like kind of merciless guy. But then as for root, it is being said that with more power you have more responsibilities. Okay, so when you get more power, you need to behave responsibly and then take care of the system. Okay, so similarly, it is kind of an administrator on Windows. So on the Windows, basically the administrator is a user profile that can give the that can create user, that can assign permissions to the user. He can delete the user, he can modify the user. Similarly, root can create the users. Root can do all of the things that can be done on Linux. Okay, so that root user is the god of Linux. So under this root directory, basically we do have some more subdirectories basically, and if you see that there are a few important ones. So these are like around 13-14 directories you will find, and each one of them are like having a kind of task, or basically contains the information that is related to one particular task or one particular functionality of Linux. Okay, so when you talk about this bin directory, bin, it is having all the essential user command binaries. It means that whatever command that you run on Linux may come from this binary directory. So it is getting stored over there. Okay, so in most of the systems, basically in most of the operating system, whatever command, whatever things that we run on the command line, that needs to be searchable somewhere, so that it will be found over there and then you can execute it. Okay, so bin directory is where you will have all the essential user commands. Okay, whatever you run as a command on the command line, basically it will come from this bin or sometimes S bin. Okay, so these two directories are where you will find most of the commands. Okay, then there is one more very important directory called etc. Okay, this directory, whenever you install any software on Linux, all the configuration part of that software will go under this etc directory. It means, let's say suppose if you install Hadoop, so Hadoop is kind of a software only that you install on Linux, and basically all the Hadoop configuration will go under /etc/Hadoop, and then if you have a conf directory, under that conf directory you will have all the components configuration. So here you will manage the configuration. You can go there for a particular software, you can open the configuration file, do some changes, and then restart the software, and it will start behaving accordingly. Okay, so etc is where you will put all the configuration related to most of the softwares, and there you will configure it. And then so any configuration changes you want on the software level, basically you need to search over here in the etc. Okay, then we do have home directory. So home directory is basically, whenever any user logins, basically it will be directly, the home directory would be its starting path or starting directory basically. Okay, so let's say suppose if you create a user, let's say user 1. So as soon as you create a user 1, its home directory will be automatically created. I mean, that is how, whenever you create any user, basically its home directory will be created at the same time. And whenever that user logs in, he will direct, the first landing he will do is on his home directory. Okay, so home directory is where he will have all the authority. I mean, any user, normal user, because he is not a supervisor, he is not a root, so he may not have all the privileges on the remaining part of the Linux, but yes, on his home directory he will have all the things. He can create multiple directories within his home directory. He can create files, he can delete files, he can rename files, he can remove directories, delete directories, whatever. All the directory level operations what a user can do within his home directory. Outside of his home directory, he does not have any permissions, or very restrictions, or a lot of restrictions will be there. If he moves away from his home directory and try to do the things, okay, so he need to obtain those kind of privileges, those kind of permissions from the root user, so that a normal user can also do some more things outside of his home directory. So home directory is a kind of world of a particular user within the Linux. Okay, so let's say a normal user 1 has got created in the Linux, basically his home directory /home/user1. So /home and then the name of user, and then / is basically the home directory of that user. Okay, so we will get the username over here and / and that is the home directory, and he will have all the, so it is his world. Okay, he will live there only. He should not come outside of this home directory and try to do the things. Okay, so it means that it's like kind of a colony where every user has its own home, and he can do do whatever he want within his home. But then when he come out of the home and try to do the things on others' home, basically, we should not permit it. Okay, so home directory is where individual users can have their home directory, and then they can do anything within it. Then we do have lib. Okay, so lib is again like suppose if your software is Java based, okay, and if like it supports multiple, there would be lot of jars that would be used or that would be referred while your Java based software, Java based utility is running. Okay, so all those jars will come under this lib. Okay, so that is what is called essential shared libraries. So basically here you will have all the dot jars. The dot jar will have the Java codes, Java classes within, and then it will be referred by other softwares at the runtime. Okay, then this /boot, it is more important for the operating system level. We don't deal with it much while doing the things. So it is like administrating files of the bootloader. So bootloader or bootloading is a technique through which the Linux is getting booted. Just like whenever we start our Windows, it requires a boot point, right, and boots. So either it would be a bootable disk, a bootable hard disk from where it will boot, and then whole operating system will come gradually and then alive in your system, so that you can start interacting with your hardware and all the things you can do with an operating system. Similarly, when you start Linux, basically it is the bootloading or bootloader which will start first and then load the complete operating system in and most of its active part in the memory, and then it will be it will be available for the use for with the users, or users can use it then. Okay, then we have temp. Again, temp is just like kind of a temporary kind of directory where you can keep your file temporary. It means that there are short living files. They are not going to be there for longer duration. Because whenever any files, anything that will be created for shorter duration, like let's say kind of installation of any software, it will create some temporary file that will be referred during the installation, and after the installation they might get those files may get deleted. Okay, that does happen in in Windows also, like it will create some temporary files, just keeping logs or just referring some kind of configuration temporarily. So basically all those kind of temporary files will come under this temp directory, and all the things under this temporary directory will be very short living, maybe 1 day 2 day, or it will be just deleted after being created. Okay, so then we have slash user. So basically there are there are like user utilities are being kept over here, slash user, in the slash user. So I mean those kind of utilities that can be used by multiple users at the same times. Okay, so at the same time basically those kind of utilities can be used by multiple users, will be placed under the user directory, USR directory. Then we have where log. So basically in this where directory we mostly put logs. Okay, so there are multiple softwares running on your Linux system. You yourself can create multiple applications and try to run it. So the overall default position or default location where you will store the logs for your software or any processes basically will be slash user slash log. Okay, so slash user slash log is the directory in which you will place the logs of any software. Okay, then we have root. So this root is the home directory for the root user. Okay, so root user is the god of Linux, and it is his home directory. Okay, so again root is, since he's a god, he can do anything to its home as well as to others home as well. Okay, so we have this normal home directory for the normal user, and here this root is the home for the root user. Okay, so this is how actually you can just try to understand that how this Linux is designed. Okay, now I will show you few basically how to connect with Linux. Is we already know that we have the IP address assigned to our Linux machine statically. Okay, so yesterday we have given it an static IP address. This is the static IP address that we have provided or we have assigned to our Linux machine through host only network. Okay, so this host only is managed by the host only adapter of your VirtualBox. Okay, so whenever you install VirtualBox on your Windows, basically it will install a virtual adapter called host only adapter, which will have its like private network whose gateway address is always 192.168.56.1. Okay, and from 192.168.56.2 to 192.168.56.254. So these many IP addresses you can generate out of it, and those many individual static host only IP addresses you can generate for those many machines, right? But again, our hardware does not permit to have more than 2 machines on a VirtualBox, depending, because even if I do have one i7 16GB RAM, I cannot have more than 2 or 3 machines within VirtualBox, so that we can use it for installation of Hadoop. Okay, so this is how you will connect to your running Linux instance. So this is the image called master2 that is currently running. Okay, and it looks like this. So I can just go here as well. Okay, but then most of the times we just need to start it, but we will work with through this putty. So I am putting my user ID and password. Let me make so let me just make this screen big. And let me change its color as well to, let's say, on yellow. It will be okay, just to look at it. And let me just open one more window, just duplicate it. Okay, so we have 2 sessions running parallelly that is connected to our Linux instance, right? So I will let you go through some of the very basic important commands. So the directory structure, it is basically a directory structure. We already seen that. Okay, so if you do ll, basically this is whatever is the number, the directories and the files currently on your system. Okay, if you do pwd, that is what is called print working directory. Okay, so it will tell you that where you are currently in. Okay, so we are under this slash root. Okay, so this slash root that is over here, if you see at the second last line of this home directory for the root user, since we have logged in with root user, okay, we got to get into the home directory of root. And when we try to see that what are all the things that is currently under the home directory of root user, so these are all the files and directories. Okay, and now directory means simply folder in Windows is as it is comparable to the directory in Linux. Okay, so we mostly just use the word directory instead of folder, but it is identical thing. Okay, whenever I say directory, just assume the folder of Windows. Now, how to identify whether it is a directory or a file? Simple. So if you just check the first letter of so this ll means this is command. Okay, if you do ll, so it will list all the directories and files within wherever you are. Okay, so currently we are in slash root home. Okay, so this is the home directory for the root user. Root is we have logged in as root. So we have given the user ID as root and the password as whatever our name is. So that's what actually we have put as a password, and it actually comes to the master2. So master2 is the name of our machine. So currently the name of our machine is master2. Okay, if you say host name, there is a command called host name. If you run it, it will tell you what is the complete name of your machine. So it will tell you there's a number. The name of your machine is master2.cluster.com. Okay, so this is set to be a fully qualified domain name. So this is domain also. So domain means what? It's like this is .com. I mean, we have created this domain cluster.com. Okay, you can add multiple machines with this cluster.com and they will all be the part of the same domain. A domain is like kind of a group, you can say. So within group you can have thousands of machines. They are all sharing the common domain name and they can easily visible to each other if they are within the same private network. Okay, and Hadoop, basically when you talk about Hadoop, it's like the networking, very very important in it, and all the machines within one particular cluster should be visible to each other so that they can communicate, because they need to share the data, they need to share the code, they need to do the analytics by working together. Okay, so that's why they should be in a private subnet network basically, and they will have the IP addresses, those are visible to each other. Okay, so basically that is what is said to be a domain. Domain means like it's a group of machine, say sharing the common workspace, common networking, so that they can see each other, they can work with each other. Okay, so if you type the command called hostname, it will tell you what is it. Though you can change the host name whatever you want. Okay, so currently my name, the machine name is master2 and its domain is cluster.com. That is how you need to read it. Okay, this is the master2. So if you do -f, it will give you fully hostname -f. Okay, and what about -s? So -f is actually hostname failure, because we have not yet set it up. But if you do hostname -s, it will give you SQDN, called simple qualified domain name, I think, and it is only master2. So master2 is the name of your machine and .cluster.com is your domain. Okay, so hostname will give you complete fully qualified domain name of your machine. So this is one more command. So we will try to understand most of the general commands that we use in Linux. So around 40-50 commands, if you know that how to use it, how to use them, okay, basically you will be feeling more comfortable within Linux. Okay, so first thing is ll. Okay, most of the times it may not work on few of the systems. So if ll is not working, do ls. So ls is also again a kind of list. Okay, and list will give you the list of directories and files. Okay, so as we know that how to identify which is directory, or which is folder and which is file, just try to look at to the first character of thing. So D means directory, and if it is not D, then it might be hyphen, and hyphen means it is a file. So this is file, and there is a color coding also you will be able to see. So these blue color is actually pertaining to directory, and the yellow color is pertaining to files. Okay, so you just need to understand that all this blue color, it is automatically telling you that it is a directory. They're all D. Okay, and it means that over here, whatever blue color you are seeing here, these are also directories. Okay, so there are two ways to look into the list of directories and files within one more directory, either LL or LS. So these are the commands that you can use in order to get the list of directories and files. Okay, now I can create users, and currently we already know that there is a user called Mimant10. Okay, sorry, not Mimant10, it is Mimant itself. Okay, so because while installing this Linux image, we have created one more user called Mimant, whose username is Mimant and password is also Mimant. Okay, so if I want to switch to that user, you can just do switch user. SU means switch user, and type the name of that user, and you will be logged in with that. So currently we did not set up any password for him. Okay, and even if we said, we did not force it to be asked, okay, while switching the user from the super user to this normal. So this Mimant is a normal user. Now if you see this root @master, now master2 gets now changed to Mimant @master2. It means that now we have logged in with Mimant user. Okay, and one more thing you will observe is, whenever you see this hash, it itself tells that you have been logged with the super user or root user, and this $sign is for the normal user. Okay, so this hash will be for super user, root user. Okay, so now this is the normal user. Again, if you now do print working directory, it will tell you that now we are in the home directory of this normal user. If you see this particular diagram, snapshot, you will see that /home, that is this thing, /home is the directory in which the normal user's directory, home directory, will be created. And if you see this /home and the name of the user will be its own home directory, so I can do anything within it. Okay, so basically this is my world. After this thing, this is my world, and I can do whatever I want over here. This is like kind of I'm home. This is where I'm living in. Okay, so root is like a god. He can live everywhere. Okay, and root can do anything. Okay, he can destroy the system. He can delete the user, rename the files, delete the files. He do have all authorities on all the things. Okay, so root is a super user, you can say, or a god of the Linux, and this Mimant is a normal user. Okay, he need to live just within its own home. So currently if you do LL by using Mimant, you will see that there is nothing created as of now. So there is no directory, no files within my home directory. So I can make some directory. So I will say mkdir. So this is the command. Mkdir is the command that will allow you to create the directory. Okay, make directory, mkdir. Okay, now suppose if you don't know that how many commands are there that you can utilize, just press tab 2 times. Okay, and it will tell you that there are 2195 possibilities that can be displayed if you press yes. So I just press Y on my keyboard, and it has given me the list of things that I can work with. Okay, so you don't know where to start with, just press tab 2 times, tab key on your keyboard 2 times, and it will give all the possible things that you can run. And if you keep pressing enter, these are all the commands. Most of them are commands only. Okay, and these are all the commands that you can utilize in order to work with Linux. Okay, there are huge number of commands. Okay, and we need not to work with all of them. Okay, they are there just in case you require them. Okay, most of them can change the overall behavior of Linux that you can use. Okay, these are like so many things. If you come out of it, just press Q on your Q means quit, Q on your keyboard, and you will just come out of this list. Okay, now suppose if you don't know, let's say you found that okay, make dir is the command through which you can create the directory. Okay, but if you don't know how to use it, just put man, that is called manual of that command. Okay, so put man and then name of command and press enter. It will give you the complete documentation of that command, that what you can do with it. Okay, so it will tell you that this is the name, make directory, it will make directories, synopsis is like this, and then it will give the description. With one command there could be a lot of options that you can take while using it. Okay, and each option will allow you to use this particular command differently. Okay, so if I say make directory and I am so it said the set file mode as in change mode, not like this. no error if existing, make parent directories as needed. Okay, so parent directories will also be needed, will be created. So but basically these are all options that you can pass while using, but you just need to know that which option you should take, okay, which is more suitable to you, your use case, and what you are actually trying to do while making the directory. Okay, so most of the times these option may not be required at all, okay, though they are there just to help you, okay, in case you want to do something else with it, right? So just like if I try to create multiple directories in a single shot, if you take this option, if all the parent directories, because one folder can have one more subfolder, that subfolder can have one more subfolder, just like in folder structure of Windows, right? We can have multiple folders within one folder. Similarly, in Linux also we can have multiple directories, and directories within directories, and directories within directories. It's like kind of a tree structure, wherein one directory can have multiple subdirectories, one subdirectory can have one furthermore some multiple subdirectories. That kind of structure we can follow in Linux and both in Windows as well, right? So suppose if you try to create 3 level of directories within a single shot, and you know that the 2 parent directories within which your final directory will be situated, basically. So you just do P, so all the parent directories will be automatically created, okay, because you know that the parent directory may not be existing at all. Okay, now so this is how you can find whatever commands you want just pressing tab 2 times, but you don't know what to do with what. So you just need to Google it out, that if you want to do something within Linux, what are all the supported commands, or what are the commands through which you can use it, right? And if you don't know how to use that command, just come here and type manual and then the name of command, and it will give you all the documentation of command. So the documentation of Linux for every command is quite useful. You can refer it most of the times, and then once you become habitual, you yourself remember a lot of things. Okay, so let's start with making a directory. Okay, so I'm going to make a directory. Currently do ll, you don't see any directory as of now. I am in the home directory of user Mimant. Okay, and I will say mkdir, and I will say new directory. Okay, and if you do ll, basically it will tell you that this new directory has been created. Okay, and this is the time. If you want to check the time and date of the system, just do date. That date is a command that will give you the date and the time on that particular time instant. So it is Sunday, April 8, and it is like 1318. Okay, and that is exactly similar to our Indian time zone. Okay, because we already set it up to the Kolkata time zone when we created our machine. Okay, and if you see that this user and group, this is set to be user, this is set to be group. Okay, so it is like the owner of this new directory is Miman. This is the owner. Okay, this is the group owner. Currently we do not have anything. How I can go into now this new directory is called change directory. CD means change directory to new directory. Okay, so now we went in to the new directory, and there if you do ll, you don't find anything because the new directory has just been created and there is no content within new directory to look into. Okay, so if you now do pwd print working directory, it will tell you that currently you are in this location /home/miman/newdir, right? And that's why we are not able to see anything over here, because this is just recently created. We do not have anything to work with within it. So we can create a file within it, or whatever we can do. We can create further more directories within this new directory. Okay, this is how this is just like creating a folder inside folder. So this is my folder. Okay, Hadoop, this is a folder. Then big data is a folder. Okay, so currently this is folder. Then there are multiple subfolders. Then I can go into my Hadoop regular class. Then there are multiple subfolders inside it, and I can go anywhere just like that. Okay, so similarly it is like just traversing through the directory structure of Linux. Okay,